has come to our family. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial, gazing proudly from its stoic perch above the moor. I lived all my years in that ancient, rumor-shadowed manor, fattened by decadence and luxury. And yet I began to tire of conventional extravagance. Singular, unsettling tales suggested the mansion itself was a gateway to some fabulous and unnameable power. With relic and ritual, I bent every effort towards the excavation and recovery of those long-buried secrets, exhausting what remained of our family fortune on swarthy workmen and sturdy shovels. At last, in the salt-soaked crags beneath the lowest foundations, we unearthed that damnable portal antediluvian evil. Our every step unsettled the ancient earth, but we were in a realm of death and madness. In the end, I alone fled laughing and wailing through those blackened arcades of antiquity, until consciousness failed me. You remember our venerable house, opulent and imperial. It is a festering abomination. I beg you, return home, claim your birthright, and deliver our family from the ravenous, clutching shadows of the darkest dungeon.
Greetings and hallucinations, ladies and lads. I am Chancellor of the Harmonious Frequencies of the Mighty Empire of Onion, and this is Darkest Dungeon. As you can see, there is a Crimson Court DLC. I will not be playing that. This is just the basic game, Darkest Dungeon, the regular campaign. As you can see here, I have started a game. This is actually my third time recording this first episode, trying to get all of the audio levels correct. And the first time that I played it, the introductory cinematic didn't record properly on the video, so hopefully everything's going right this time. Third time's a charm and all of that. Let's get started on this. Stygian campaigns are the most difficult. No quarter, no forgiveness. Have to conquer the game within a time limit and hero death limit. Gameplay settings, some of them are locked. Darkest is normal. Everything's original. A little bit longer gameplay mode. So with Radiant, it's a faster gameplay, more forgiving than normal, and suggested for the first Darkest Dungeon. I think for YouTube, this is going to be a decent one for making a series, since it can be completed a little bit quicker. There we go. So let's get started. I really enjoy this game. The art style is great. The vocabulary, the writing, got into it. The voiceovers, the music, all is really good.
You will arrive along the old road. It winds with a troubling, serpent-like suggestion through the corrupted countryside, leading only, I fear, to ever more tenebrous places. There is a sickness in the ancient, pitted cobbles of the old road, and on its writhing path you will face viciousness, violence, and perhaps other damnably transcendent terrors. So steel yourself, and remember there can be no bravery without madness. The old road will take you to hell, but in that gaping abyss, we will find our redemption.
Oh. So something about this game, the sort of dark and gloomy style of it, the insanity involved is really appealing to me. Take that as you will. The whole game overall is has a very interesting setting to it, I would say. I think it's interesting also that the caretaker we saw in the opening cinematic sort of took care of himself. Somehow we're able to hear his voice throughout the entire game, which is kind of interesting. So here we've got our first adventure, map navigation. We're currently in a room represented by this square here. To move forward, click on another room. On the map display, this will take us to the connecting hallway. Okay, that's pretty simple. Let's take a look at our characters real quick first. I'm pretty sure you always start out with the same two characters, Renaud the Crusader and Dismas the Highwayman. At least in the past 3 times that I've played this game so far, these are the exact same characters that I've started out with every time. They have different skills sometimes, but yeah, this is the way it was last time. It shows their statistics here. We've got accuracy, critical chance, base damage, dodge, protection, and speed. This is how fast they'll be able to attack during combat rounds. Combat is turn-based. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Then yeah, health, stress, weapons, armor, and combat skills. So you can see with the yellow and red circles here, each side has 4 slots. Our 4 slots gives us the ability to have a team of 4 characters at a time, and any group of monsters or enemies will have up to 4 in their side of the combat. So that's represented here by these dots. The Crusader's preferred position is always the front 2. For this specific skill, actually for most of his skills, he's able to target the front 2 lines of the enemy side as well. See, this is a basic melee attack, plus damage versus Unholy. This is a ranged attack. It actually affects, as you can see by the linked front 2 dots, it affects both front characters. The damage here is modified by a negative 40%, but since it affects 2 characters at once, it's really useful in a bunch of different applications. Stunning Blow here does what it says, has a 100% base chance to stun. Of course, enemies have a variable resistance to stun, and so that'll be modified by that. Damage is modified by a negative 75% as well, so it's low initial damage, but the chance to stun is what this is really all about. Bulwark of Faith increases the torch by 20. This here is the torch. Right now we have a bonus to dodge, scouting, and surprising monsters. If we shift click, we can reduce the torch level. Certain character quirks operate better under lower light levels, and then shift control click snuffs out the torch. I don't know why anyone would want to do that. I'm sure that there's applications for it, but I don't want to snuff out the torch. Low light levels also increase the stress buildup over time, which is something that we're definitely going to have to be able to deal with and manage in future adventures. Not this one, it's super short, it'll be totally fine. But this marks himself so that enemies are more likely to attack him, but it also improves his protection rating by 25%, so that's pretty good. Dismas here. Open Vein is a bleeding melee attack, 100% chance to bleed for 2 points for 3 rounds. Debuffs the target as well, minus 20% bleed resistance and minus 1 speed. So this 100% chance to bleed, like I mentioned, is modified by the enemy's bleed resistance. However, if it does strike, this will reduce their bleed resistance by 20%, making his next attack more likely to bleed the enemy. So that's pretty good. You can stack up a bunch of damage over time on enemies in the front 2 slots there. Pistol Shot, he likes to be positioned more or less in the second position. Second or third is where he's most useful. but his pistol shot here will target the back, any one of the back 3 enemy line. Modified damage is lowered by 25%. Critical chance is raised by 10%. So even though the base damage is a little bit lower, there is a higher chance that he'll get bonus damage. And then plus 25% damage versus a marked enemy. So like the Crusader's ability that marks himself, we are able to unlock abilities that will mark enemies, and he will get bonus damage against them. Grape Shot Blast, as you can see by the linked 3 red dots, means that it will target all 3 of the front line of the enemy. Lower damage, but also a lower chance to crit there. Okay, so tracking shot. This basically buffs this character. It's a really low damage shot, but it increases his overall damage, accuracy, and critical chance for future attacks. So that's a self-buff, basically, while doing a tiny bit of damage to an enemy monster. Then we've got our map here, we've got our inventory here, and then this is our default party order. We can arrange that back to normal during our travels and stuff, and we can center the map on the party right there. So let's get going.
Have run up these lanes. Keep to the side path. The hamlet is just ahead.
So we can move with A or D. Clearly D moves forward to the right, A moves backwards to the left, or we can alternatively use the mouse. So I can click, if I hold down click, they'll walk. But I like to use the keys back and forth. So that was a little bit of stress that he picked up 3. Moving backwards increases the amount of stress that will build up over time. So you almost always want to move in the same direction. Even if on the map you click on a room that's over here, you'll want to move this direction to get to that room.
Dispatch this thug in brutal fashion, that all may hear of your arrival.
Okay, combat is turn-based, as I mentioned before. On your hero's turn, click a skill icon, then click on a target. If we can't select the skill, it's because the hero needs to be in a different spot, or there are no valid targets. Move over the skill to see the requirements. We looked over the skills and stuff earlier. We're in ideal positions right now, so let's just do this business. Let's give him a bleed first. Wham. Alright. And we'll smite him.
Decimated.
Cool. So we can take items...
Success so clearly in view.
Indeed.
Or is it merely a trick of the light?
Most likely. We can mouse over items to show details about them, and they do take up inventory slots. I don't know what the circle button is unless it's this thing. And we can either click on the gold right here, or we can click on the hand to take everything. So I'll do that. Okay, then we've got these. Interactive objects, or curios. While exploring, we'll find a lot of these. Click or press W to investigate them, and it wants us to take a look at the tent. Whichever character that you have selected is the one that's going to open the thing. And so, like, highwaymen generally have a higher % chance to disarm traps. This isn't a trap, it's a curio. So, if we did come across a trap, we would want to make sure that he's selected in order to click on the thing. They've got a traveler's tent. All the curios give you an option to drag an item here to use it. I don't have anything interesting like a key or a shovel or a torch or anything like that to put here, so I'm just gonna check inside. Okay, they've got
nothing
treasure.
unchecked. There is much to be found in forgotten places.
That's a lot of treasure, actually. Total of 1,000 gold value there. And what I was mentioning about the optional items that you can drag onto the curios, it varies by curio. So each one has a specific item that you drag into there to activate special loot drops, special treasure, basically. So our light is down to 70.
Send these vermin a message. The rightful owner has returned, and their kind is no longer welcome.
This is increasing our stress over time. We still have dodge, scouting, and surprise bonuses though, so it's nothing to fret about. Okay, so I didn't really go over it very thoroughly with the first enemy that we encountered, but there is a lot of information here that shows up when we mouse over each individual enemy. You can see the health at the top right of that panel is different for each one of these. This guy actually covers 2 spots, so there's 3 enemy spots being taken up here. He has a dodge of 0, a speed of 1, and then you can see his resistances, 50% chance for stun. Being moved, it kind of shuffles up the party position, which you can see the importance of that based on these. A lot of his range attacks he can't be in the front slot for. So if somebody uses a pull ability and moves him to the front slot, I can't use either of these abilities. So party position is very important at all times. So he is difficult to move. However, this guy is only 25% resistance to move, so if I had an ability that would pull him forward, that would be incredibly useful because he's clearly a ranged character, so he would have less skills to utilize in a different position from where he is right now. You can see we don't know what his skills are. That will change as we encounter more enemies and they use their skills against us. As they do that, we'll see them listed down in that bottom right corner there. So let's get to it. Let's try and stack up some damage on this guy because he has a huge amount of health. We just want to do as much damage to him as we can, and damage over time is awesome. Alright, we had a good dodge there, that's fantastic. Oh. Okay. That gave him some stress, and he was able to resist the bleeding, which is excellent. Even though he has a speed of 1 and he has a speed of 0 now, somehow he was able to go first. So that's a little bit strange, but we'll see how it goes. I'm thinking about using this for the protection, but also for the mark, so that they'll try to target him specifically. However, I think with the blanket fire and the some of the abilities that I know that he has, they're going to target both of us. So I think just killing them off is probably my best bet here. You can see now at the bottom right though, under skills, he has punishment, which induces stress and bleeding. He has blanket fire, which is a debuff, sort of an effect. So let's smite him. I didn't want to try to stun him because it is 50% resistance there, and we can stack bleed one more time. So he's almost dead. Excellent dodge again. Okay, he was not able to resist bleed, so it's 2 damage per round, which is fine. We could just try this Zealous Accusation against him. You can see in the gold area here, the hero damage at the bottom is 4 to 8. So he only has 4 health. This is going to kill him in one shot anyways. So let's go ahead and try that out. Bam.
Prodigious size alone does not dissuade the sharpened blade.
Okay, so sometimes enemies leave corpses behind. They're obstacles and will eventually go away on their own. We can attack them to destroy them faster, but a better approach is to use range skills, push-pull skills, and corpse clearing special skills that some heroes possess. I know that the Plague Doctor has a skill that clears corpses. Monsters killed with bleed, blight, or crits leave no corpses at all. So that's good to know. And corpses do still bleed, suffer from blight, all that kind of stuff. Okay, so this debuff makes it harder for us to dodge. So already we failed to dodge that shot, and so now it's going to be more difficult for us to dodge future attacks from him. So let's do the Grape Shot Blast so we can do some damage to the corpse and to this guy all at once. Okay, and so the Crusader is only able to attack these front 2 spots, and so I'm going to go with the highest damage that we can get 6 to 12, there's a pretty good chance that we'll be able to clear out this corpse. There we go. Now both of us will be able to attack this guy. Let's go ahead and bleed him.
Press this advantage.
Nice.
Give them no quarter.
Excellent work. Okay, we found a trinket here. Eldritch Killing Incense for occultists only. We don't have an occultist, so we can't use it. But it increases crit percent and damage versus Eldritch. Eldritch are a type of enemy that we'll encounter in the future. These, of course, were humans. We picked up some crests, which are very useful for upgrading buildings in the hamlet, and some more gold and some more food. After we've completed the quest, we can immediately return to town, just clicking on the crest. We don't have to return to the starting room of the dungeon, and we don't have to find any other kind of exit. So let's see about this chest here. Okay, it's a trapped chest. I'm pretty sure no matter what I do, this is going to hurt me if I try to open it. I'm sure that there is an item that I can use here, maybe a key or something like that we'll find in the future that can disarm the trap. Let's see, though, with the highwayman's typical ability to disarm things, if he can open it. Okay, it's trapped. So he got some blight, 2 damage per round for 3 rounds. We're not going into combat, we're not going to be spending any time traveling, so we're done here. He won't take any further damage, and they automatically heal once we get back to the hamlet. Alright, so we got 5,000 base gold, bonus gold for the items that we didn't use up. Oh, food. Yeah, we can eat that to restore health. Each party member consumes 1 unit per meal. We'll occasionally have hunger checks during the adventures, and each person in the party will eat 1 food during a hunger check. It'll heal them up by 1 or 2 points. I don't know what the maximum is. And then, so we always need to make sure that we have food when we go on an adventure. Also, when we go camping in an adventure, we'll need food for the camping to heal up and reduce stress. Okay, we've leveled up both characters, and we've picked up some new quirks. +2 Resolve XP. Obsessed with Sainthood. I'm not sure what that means. And then, will not take part in prayer in town after certain traumatic events. Okay. +10% scouting chance in the Warrens. That's excellent. It's always good to have scouting. It reveals a lot about the map that would otherwise be unknown. So you can see traps ahead of time. You can know where battles are going to occur, where treasure is, that sort of stuff. So that's an incredibly useful quirk.
Welcome home, such as it is. This squalid hamlet, these corrupted lands, they are yours now, and you are bound to them.
Okay. We have quest goals here to complete our first foray into the ruins. We have a bunch of bosses that we need to defeat. These guys say random things while we're in this screen, so those are just going to pop up every now and then. Lots and lots of bosses. Then we have goals to go into the darkest dungeon and the final quest. Then raise different characters to level 6. These are all the different characters that we can hire onto our roster here. The Hellions are my favorite by far. Jesters are pretty fantastic as well. But yeah, that's this scroll here, so we can open that whenever we need to. Get help where you may. We can press and hold H to see help for that mode. In town, exploring, fighting, camping, and more. So let's go ahead and press H. Right-click on a hero in the roster to inspect their detailed character sheet. It can be renamed or dismissed permanently from there. If you want a character named after you, just leave a comment down below. Try to keep it to characters that haven't been renamed already, so that anyone who is renamed can keep their name on the roster. Click on buildings to use them. Stagecoach is where we recruit heroes. Blacksmith upgrades weapons and armor. Guild upgrades skills. Survivalists upgrade camping skills. Tavern is stress relief. The Abbey is stress relief. Sanitarium treats heroes' quirks and diseases, and Nomad's Wagon to purchase rare items. Excellent. So the memoirs here.
In time, you will know the tragic extent of my failings.
I'm sure we will. These are all the cinematics and cutscenes that we will encounter in the future. These are, it looks like there's 3 parts for each boss, and then the Darkest Dungeon, there's 3 parts, and the conclusion. So we'll unlock all of those eventually. Over here on this side are the other buildings, so all of these are locked. We have to complete some quests before we can unlock them and help out our characters a little bit. Let's check out the graveyard.
Most will end up here, covered in the poisoned earth, awaiting merciful oblivion.
For sure. Thankfully nobody's there after the very first quest. That would be pretty embarrassing.
Women and men, soldiers and outlaws, fools and corpses. All will find their way to us now that the road is clear.
Okay, so we can recruit heroes to fill out a party of 4, drag and drop into the roster. I don't think it costs anything. I've kept my eye on that before.
What
Price
better
didn't change.
laboratory than the blood-soaked battlefield?
Sure. We can upgrade. Yep. Upgrading increases the number of heroes available in the future. To upgrade, click on the plus symbol over here. This is available with all of the buildings. We can upgrade different things. So this increases the number of recruits available for hiring the next time. This increases the size of the roster. Right now we have 4 characters out of 9. It increases it to 12. And then this will give us more experienced recruits. So instead of coming in at 0 level, it'll be level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. We have the heirlooms that we need in order to do this. So let's go ahead and upgrade so that we have 3 heroes coming in. I could increase the size of the roster, but right now we're not even at half. And so I'll save the heirlooms that we have for future exchanges that we might need to make. Speaking of exchanges, we can exchange heirlooms one for another. Yeah, there isn't anything else that we can do in town, so it wants us to go on our first quest. Not right now. Don't tell me how to live my life. Different heirlooms have different values, so you could see 2 for 3. 3 for 1, 3 for 1, 2 for 3, 1 for 3, so on. So they can be exchanged, and then gold you need for embarking on new quests and all that kind of stuff. So we have to go on a quest to unlock any of these, but that's gonna be just about it for this episode. We picked up this trinket, so this is where we go to check those out. This is the glossary. This shows us the definition for all of the terms, different things that we can take with us, what they do, all of that. But you can find all this by mousing over things most of the time. So it's pretty evident, the information that's available. And then this is exit options and stuff like that. So this is the Darkest Dungeon. Yeah, I really look forward to playing this game, continuing this series. I hope you look forward to it as well, and that you enjoy. If you want to catch the next episode, be sure to subscribe. Consider supporting if you would, and be sure to check out any of my other videos or playlists that you might be interested in. I thank you very much for all the time that you spend on my channel, and I hope blessings of wisdom and peace on all of you. Farewell.